Go. Hello, printmakers. Welcome to gel plate monoprinting. Materials for today and tools for gel printmaking plate. I'll say that again. Your gel printmaking plate, relief ink, brayer, a found flat object, such as leaves, is what we use, and tape. And here this is a great process. We're super big fans of this. We love this, had a lot of fun making these. We just want to make a big shout out that we're using green ink here, water-based inks. So make sure that you stick with that. And with that, I'm going to start the video and pass this off to Brett.
So as Sam starts the video, you can see that we've created a clean flat surface. The gel plate has a backing that I left on just for this one time, but if you have one that doesn't have a backing, no big deal. The first thing we do is go ahead and tape down that plate to make sure it doesn't shift and move as we work on our surface. We are actually going to go ahead and do a blend roll, meaning that we're going to put two color inks down and have them fade into each other in a different way. So we've gone ahead and chose yellow and a red. They are once again water-based relief inks, and you can do this as a solid color as well, as an easier option. This was kind of a make your own adventure. So just kind of thinking in terms of fall, those colors and some of the leaves, and how that would change the context using color. And I will pass it off to Sam to continue the demo.
So again, Brett taped down the plate. He just pushed it down with his hand. No reason to be super sensitive and make sure doing this just this way. Brett is putting ink right on the plate. He doesn't have to have an inking area, and then he adds the ink onto the plate. Make sure that you then are slowly blending. Notice Brett inked out the yellow and then began to bring in the red afterwards, right? So that he's thinking about how he's slowly bringing those two colors together to get that nice soft orange that's the in-between. That brayer will be used as the tool to transfer ink to the block, and it should have that sound of fried bacon sitting in your cast iron skillet with that a beautiful sound of snapping. That's really what you're looking for as you roll that ink out, to make sure that you've got a nice good coat over your brayer as well as on your plate. And notice how he's laying down the brayer so that the ink side is up.
The one other thing I'll note is that you need a lot less ink than you think you do. It moves around very easily onto the gel plate. So as you can see, it kind of lipped off on the side of our gel plate in the image. So I just want to be aware that start small. You can always add more ink on the edges during your blend roll and work those in as well. If you don't have enough, it's better to go back and add more. Trust me, I experimented with this. It was one of my first times really using gel plates, and the ink just moves a lot quicker than you think. So use your ink sparingly. As you can see, we've now moved our gel plate into our inking area. Because we're only printing one of these, so there'll be some sort of monoprint. We did not really use the registration system in this case. But it is there to make sure that things can be aligned with the corner of the paper. We took the tape off the back and we placed it in our inking area.
And we're really happy with how this works. This process, if you're paired edges, you can see Brett is placing the relief or the object that you're going to use for low relief right down on top of the plate itself. And he's kind of creating his own little collage there. Over time, you can pre-plan this or do it spontaneously in the moment. And once the objects are layered onto the plate, you can place the paper on top. And we're just going to watch Brett here for a couple more moments as he lays a few more pieces on. You can see that he's kind of placing it on the plate and over the edge of the plate, doing suggestions for how the final image will come out. And it gives this fall feel, even though it's the middle of summer, because of that beautiful color.
So we're going to go ahead and use a brayer to print this, or a wooden spoon. I found a wooden spoon to be a little more difficult, just because you're kind of going over top of some of those objects that you put down in low relief. So using the brayer would just seem to be an easier way to distribute pressure, plus something else that we already should have around for this printing process as we use. So as you can see, as we pull it up, the leaves become the negative space and the ink becomes the positive space. One thing I will say is to don't scrap the plate right away. Go ahead and take those leaves off, and then you're able to print it again, where the leaves will then be the positive and the background will be the negative. So experiment with different ways of using the plate before you just disregard all the ink that's on there. Plus, it makes it a lot easier for cleaning.
And I will say this, ghosts can sometimes be the image that you like the most. Who likes the ghost the most? Yes, I intentionally rhymed that. But I just want to add in that the ghosts are often great images that you can work back into, you can play with, you make drawings from. So even though it's called monoprinting, single printing, oftentimes the second print, that ghost print, can be very valuable for future work, for future ideas, for multi-layered images. Multiple ghosts on one image often make very interesting matrices or monoprints themselves. So make those ghosts and just see what comes. Tear down your paper, prepare your paper so that comes. Even though Brett talks about, he didn't pre-plan this to be exactly in the perfect space in the image area, you can see here that Brett did a great job of eyeball registration. And sometimes that happens and you don't have to cut down your paper to those edges. But if need be, that's also a process that can be done. We recommend tearing it down very traditionally, but if you cut it down, that works too as well.
And that is gel monoprinting.
Thanks, guys. See you next time.